Select a file. Select a character.
Let's get him!
Sonic Adventure means a lot to me. I originally played it on GameCube, but I was young enough that I've forgotten all about my first playthrough. To be honest, I don't even remember when the first time I finished the last episode was. At first, it might sound like a condemnation of the game that I don't remember my first experience with it, and that's fair. However, to me, this is a sign that this game has left an indelible mark on me. Sonic the Hedgehog has had an effect on me as a person that is hard to describe. His games don't reach my top 5. In fact, I don't make an effort to play them on a regular basis the way others would. But I still call the series my favorite franchise in gaming, despite also loving other games much more deeply. Sonic Adventure isn't even my favorite game in the Sonic franchise, but it's hard to deny that it introduced me to something that continues to be a part of me and likely will be for the foreseeable future. Sonic Adventure opens on Sonic's initial encounter with Chaos, the primary antagonist of the game. Going back to it almost felt quaint. I stomped the boss in under a minute, heard Sonic call Chaos a big drip, and got some epic foreshadowing from Dr. Eggman.
You know nothing, fool! It's Chaos, the god of destruction!
Fade to Sonic chilling at the pool and seeing Tails crash land, and the game proper begins. Sonic Adventure's characterization of Sonic is super solid for the franchise's first proper 3D voice-acted game. Some have argued that Sonic is the only reason this game is worth playing, but I tend to disagree. It can be fun to thoroughly destroy Sonic's levels as Tails, and while not the greatest thing in the world, Knuckles has a solid campaign that does a good job of utilizing the stage layouts effectively. Amy is probably my least favorite character to play as, and even though her narrative ends up being super important to one of my favorites, I tend to appreciate how short her campaign is because I dislike playing as her so much. Big has been memed to death, and while I don't outright hate playing as him, I do find it a bit odd that he's required to reach the last story. However, there is one final campaign before the last story, which is also the best side campaign in the game. Of course, that's E102 Gamma's story. Gamma's campaign shows the behind-the-scenes of Eggman's operation. Gamma is forced to destroy E101 Beta, his brother, in combat to decide who gets to go on missions, which, combined with his interactions with Amy and Sonic, causes him to gain sentience and go rogue. He proceeds to defeat all of the other E100 series robots, freeing their animals and breaking the cycle, at least for these robots individually. The story ends with a rematch against a powered-up Beta, and the two of them destroy each other, setting their birds free and reuniting a whole family of small birds. Gamma's story is largely unimportant to the main narrative, with arguably Big having more plot significance. However, his narrative is bittersweet, existential, and one of the most emotional stories in the entire franchise. While I do think various games in the franchise took themselves too seriously to the point of parody, the execution of this small narrative proves to me that this franchise can take on a lot of different concepts and still get away with it. While the plot of the game is nothing to write home about, it utilizes the characters decently, and the finale is nothing short of iconic.
Hey, Sonic!
Amy!
Here, take this!
Hey guys, what's up?
Chaos only used the negative power of the emeralds. Sonic, you should be able to harness their real power.
As much as I hate to admit it, I think Tails is right about this.
Go, Sonic! Yeah, Sonic!
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 Negative forces aren't the only way to empower the Chaos Emerald. Our positive feelings toward each other can make them work. Our hearts together form awesome power.
Open Your Heart blaring in the background while Sonic races towards perfect chaos in the middle of the flooded city. While this is by no means my favorite appearance of Super Sonic, this fight laid the groundwork for some of the coolest moments in the franchise and arguably all of gaming. I think a big reason I attached myself to Sonic as quickly as I did was due to the fact that in a lot of ways, I am not like Sonic at all. For a long time, I often felt like my hobbies and passions were wrong or bad, and that led to a lot of anxiety and insecurity. Add to that my perfectionism and my desire to follow the rules, and throughout most of my life, I've been a tiny little bubble of anxiety ready to burst at any given moment. Sonic, in many ways, is the complete opposite. He's cool, his theme song is literally "It Doesn't Matter." He breaks who knows how many rules at any given moment, and is generally a free spirit. Furthermore, all of this is portrayed as a good thing. Sonic is never outright villainized, and though he might sometimes create his problems or make mistakes, those mistakes don't hang over him like a specter the way mine felt like they did. In a lot of ways, Sonic games became my refuge from a lot of those feelings. I often felt, and sometimes still do, that I unintentionally raised the bar on myself, and as such wasn't allowed to make the same mistakes as other people. But in a Sonic game, none of that mattered. There's a big water monster on the loose, the rules don't apply. If I mess up, I just respawn at the last checkpoint. When I say everything is Sonic Adventure's fault, I mostly mean that while Adventure isn't my favorite game in the franchise, it is the game that introduced me to Sonic, and Sonic would go on to define a lot of my tastes to this day. Most things I enjoy, I can trace back to Sonic the Hedgehog in some way, shape, or form, even if it's a bit of a stretch. Sonic Adventure is special to me, and honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Hey, I'll play with you some other time.
Restoration at 79%.